All right, let's get real for a second. You ever sit there staring at your phone, crafting a text message like it's a NASA launch, changing one word 17 times because, God forbid, you sound weird or needy? Yeah, we've all been there. Social stuff feels complicated. Like there's this secret code everybody else seems to get, and you're stuck Googling how to be normal in conversation at 2 a.m. And let's not even talk about the group chat anxiety, that thing where you send a message, nobody replies. And suddenly you're rethinking every life choice you've ever made. Or worse, you're at a party, clutching your drink like it's a life preserver, nodding along to a convo you're not even in, just waiting for the floor to swallow you whole. Tell me I'm wrong. Now, here's the wild part. Most of us, we think we're the only ones who feel like that. Like everyone else was handed a social skills starter pack in kindergarten, and we missed that meeting. But nah. Behind the cool smiles and confident small talk, everyone is winging it way more than they admit. And yet, we get stuck, overthinking every word, hyperanalyzing every silence, frozen by this fear that we'll mess up, get rejected, be seen as awkward. And boom, just like that, we're living inside our heads instead of out there, actually connecting. Sound familiar? See, we've been fed this idea that social skills are some mystical talent. You either have it or you don't. Like it's some elite club, the charismatic people versus the rest of us. And every time we struggle, it's like, yup, guess I'm just not one of those people. But here's the truth, and I need you to hear this. Like your best friend is grabbing your shoulders right now. Social skills are not some magical gift. They're not hard because you're broken or awkward or just not good at people. They only feel hard because nobody ever taught us the real game. No one explained what's actually going on under the surface. So, of course, it feels like a mystery. And here's the craziest twist: social skills, they're way easier than you think. Like, stupidly simple. Once you actually understand the mechanics. This whole thing is less about tricks or perfect words and way more about unlearning the junk that's tripping you up in the first place. So, why do we keep making it harder? Why do we freeze up, doubt ourselves, and tie ourselves in knots over basic human connection? That's exactly what we're cracking open today. Because let's be real, life's too short to waste another year hiding in the corner of the room, replaying awkward convos in your head like a cringe highlight reel. We're done with that. You and me, we're breaking out of the mental maze for good. And by the time we're through, you're going to see the truth. Social skills aren't just easy, they're natural. You already have what it takes. You've just been looking at it upside down. Ready? Let's go. All right, so let's zoom in on the lie. The big, sneaky, dream killing lie. That way, too many of us buy into without even realizing it. Here it is: social skills are a talent. You're either born with it or you're not. Sound familiar? Maybe you've even said it out loud. I'm just not a people person. Or, yeah, I'm more of an introvert. I'm bad at small talk. Or, my personal favorite, I don't do well in crowds. Listen, I love you, but that's trash. Straight up garbage thinking. And trust me, I've been knee deep in that garbage pile myself. See, somewhere along the way, we all got hit with this idea that social ease is like being good at sports or having perfect pitch, natural talent. You either have that magical, sparkly charisma gene, or you're doomed to awkwardly hover by the snack table for life. But let's be real. That's nonsense. Total smoke and mirrors. Social skills aren't some weird, mystical gift from the gods. They are, wait for it, skills. Yep, skills. Like learning to cook, or ride a bike, or, I don't know, parallel park without crying. Nobody's born knowing how to hold a conversation or read a room. It's learned behavior, picked up through trial, error, and a whole lot of flopping around until it clicks. But here's where it gets sneaky. We don't see other people learning. We only see the finished product, the smooth talkers, the confident charmers, and we assume, wow, they must have just been born like that. Nope. What you're seeing, that's practice. That's life experience. That's reps. But we overcomplicate it in our heads because we've had bad experiences. Remember that one time you tried to be funny and it bombed? Or you opened up to someone and they looked at you like you'd grown a third eye? Yeah, those moments burn themselves into your brain like a tattoo. And without realizing it, you start telling yourself stories. I'm awkward. I'm bad at this. I shouldn't even try. And those stories, they become your truth. Not because they're actually true, but because you believe them. You let a few rough moments convince you that you're broken. I get it. I so get it. I had a phase, no joke, where I convinced myself I was allergic to small talk. Like, I'd rather fake a phone call than ask someone how their weekend was. I thought I just wasn't cut out for it. But you know what I finally realized? It wasn't that small talk was the problem. It was me overthinking it to death. I'd built this giant dramatic story around it, turned a simple, hey, how's it going, into a psychological thriller in my head. And that's exactly what most of us do. We complicate the hell out of something that's supposed to be simple. We second guess, we analyze, we compare ourselves to the smooth operators, and we spin ourselves into a knot. But let's strip it all the way back. Social skills, real, honest connection, are about showing up as a human, not a perfect human, not a dazzlingly witty human, just a human, breathing, listening, being present. And the rest? That's gravy. We make it hard because we've been trained to think it's hard. We watch too many movies where people deliver flawless one-liners, or we see highlight reels of people's best moments online and we forget. Real life is messy, and that's fine. In fact, the mess is what makes it real. So next time you catch yourself thinking, I'm just not good at people, hit pause. Ask yourself, is that true? Or is that just a story I'm telling because of a few cringy moments? Because here's the thing. Every single one of us has flopped. Every single one of us has had awkward silences, weird eye contact, jokes that landed like a brick. It's part of the game. But the people who look naturally gifted, they just stopped making those moments mean something bad about them. They didn't take it personally. They kept going. And that's the whole secret. Social skills aren't a magic trick. They're a muscle. And the more you flex it, even clumsily, the stronger it gets. Period. Okay, so let's talk about the shift. The moment when all this overthinking, all the sweaty palmed awkwardness, all the I'm just bad at people noise finally started to crack. And look, I wish I could tell you it was some epic movie moment. Like I stared into the sunset, had a dramatic realization, and suddenly became the life of the party. But nah, it was way smaller. In fact, it was kind of dumb, but it changed everything. Here's what happened. I was at this random get-together. The usual setup, people talking, laughing, doing that thing where they all seem like they've known each other forever. And I'm standing there like a spare part, nodding along and praying someone will just save me. Classic. Anyway, at some point, this guy next to me, total stranger, turns and says something completely basic like, man, this music's loud, huh? And my brain? Immediate reaction, panic. What's the right response? Should I make a joke? Ask a question, smile, and nod. The old me would have spiraled into a full internal meltdown in that moment. But for some reason, maybe I was too tired to care. I just said the first dumb thing that popped into my head. Yeah, it's like a concert for people who hate concerts. No overthinking, no strategy, just words. And you know what happened? He laughed, like genuinely laughed. Then we kept talking. Nothing earth-shattering, just normal, chill conversation. But that was the moment, the light bulb, that hit me right between the eyes. Oh my God, this is it. This is all it is. Not a performance, not a test. Just two humans throwing words back and forth. And from that second on, my entire mindset shifted. I realized I'd been making social skills into this huge monster in my head, like I had to crack some secret code to get it right. But the truth? It's simple. Mind-blowingly simple. You don't need to be clever or smooth or have the perfect thing to say. You just need to show up, open your mouth, be present. That's it. See, we get so obsessed with the big tricks, the hacks, the 10 ways to be instantly charismatic, YouTube rabbit holes. And sure, some of that stuff is fun, but it's like trying to build a house out of fancy doorknobs when you haven't even laid the foundation yet. What really matters? The basics, the simple stuff, like making eye contact, actually listening, responding like a human instead of running a script in your head. These are the small wins that compound. And this is where the muscle analogy hits home. Social skills are literally like training a muscle. Think about it. The first time you do a push-up, brutal. Feels awkward. Maybe you fall on your face. But you don't say, well, I'm just not a push-up person, right? No. You practice. You build strength. And slowly but surely, it gets easier, more natural. One day you're banging out push-ups like it's no big deal. Same with social stuff. Every single time you speak up, even if it's clumsy, even if it's awkward, you are training the muscle. And here's the magic. Your brain starts rewiring. What used to feel terrifying starts feeling normal, comfortable even. And soon you're not thinking about doing it right anymore. You're just doing it. So that's the shift from chasing perfection to embracing practice, from overcomplicating to keeping it stupidly simple. And let me tell you, when that clicks, game over. You stop seeing social moments as these high-stakes battles you have to win, and you start seeing them for what they really are, tiny, everyday reps that build up your confidence, one conversation at a time. And honestly, that's where the real magic happens. Not in the flashy one-liners or the viral charisma hacks, but in the quiet, consistent practice of just showing up as you. All right, now we're getting into the good stuff. The part where you're like, okay, cool, I get it. It's a muscle, it's simple, but what do I actually do? And I love that question because this is where most people screw it up. They look for the perfect tactic, the flawless opening line, the magic formula to make every conversation feel like a movie scene. But remember what we just said? That's not the game. The game is showing up consistently and keeping it simple. So let's break it down. Here are the key habits that actually work. And trust me, these are deceptively simple but powerful if you actually stick with them. First up, eye contact. Yup, I know. You've heard it before. But seriously, eye contact is like the Wi-Fi signal of human connection. Without it, the whole thing glitches. And I'm not saying you have to lock eyes like a cartoon villain. Just look at people. Show them you're there, paying attention, fully present. You'd be amazed how much smoother conversations get when people can see that you're dialed in. Next, listening. Not that fake, sure nodding, while you're mentally drafting your next brilliant response. I mean real listening, like actually hearing the words they're saying and letting it land. One of the biggest social cheat codes, letting people feel heard. People love talking to someone who genuinely listens. And bonus, it takes so much pressure off you. You don't have to be a dazzling conversationalist when you're busy being a great listener. Third, small talk mindset shift. Listen, small talk gets a bad rap. Everyone's like, ugh, I hate small talk. It's so shallow. But here's the truth. Small talk is the gateway. It's not the end goal. It's the bridge to deeper stuff. You don't get to deep, meaningful convos by skipping the warm-up. It's like hating on the crust of a pizza. Yeah, sure, you want the good stuff in the middle, but the crust holds the whole thing together. So stop treating small talk like a waste of time and start seeing it as the opening scene of the movie. It sets the vibe. Fourth, reps over perfection. This one's huge. Every time you show up, whether it's chatting with a barista, making small talk at work, or sending that risky text, you're banking experience points. Even if it feels awkward, especially when it feels awkward. Think of it like social push-ups. You might not feel stronger after one, but stack those reps and suddenly you realize, hey, I'm not breaking a sweat over this stuff anymore. That's progress. And here's a little mindset gem that helped me massively. Drop the pressure to win the interaction. You don't need to be funny or impressive or even particularly interesting. Your only job is to show up and be human. That's it. I promise you, when you take the pressure off, you actually become way more enjoyable to be around because people can feel when you're relaxed, and that makes them relax. It's a ripple effect. Now, how do you practice this without turning it into some exhausting self improvement project? Easy. Micro moments. Little daily chances to flex. You're in an elevator? Make eye contact and say, "Hey, how's it going?" Buying coffee? Ask your barista how their day's been. Waiting in line somewhere? Comment on literally anything around you. "Wow, this line's wild today, huh?" Boom, you're in the game. Zero stakes, zero pressure. But every single one of these micro moments is a brick in the foundation you're building. And here's the best part, it compounds. The more you do it, the more natural it feels. The more natural it feels, the more your confidence grows. And before you know it, the stuff that used to make you sweat is your new normal. You don't even think about it anymore. So let's recap. Real simple. 1. Look people in the eye. 2. Listen like you mean it. 3. Stop hating on small talk. It's your friend. 4. Prioritize reps over perfection. 5. Grab those micro moments. Do that consistently, and I swear to you, you will transform how you feel in social situations. Not with big flashy moves, but with tiny steady shifts that stack up until one day you realize you're not faking it anymore. You are it. And that's where the real magic lives. All right. So now we're deep in it. The part where people lean in and whisper, "Okay, but what's the real secret? Like the actual trick to making this feel easy?" And listen, I get it. We love the idea of a secret sauce, some hidden Jedi move that makes everything click overnight. But here's the thing, and I need you to really let this sink in. The real secret, it's not a trick. It's you. Yeah, I know, not flashy, but it's the truth. What actually makes social stuff feel easy over time is authenticity. Showing up as yourself, messy, imperfect human, and trusting that's enough. The reason so many of us struggle isn't because we don't know the right thing to say. It's because we're trying too hard to be someone we think we should be. We put on these social masks, trying to be cooler, funnier, more polished, and that's exhausting. It's like wearing a too tight pair of jeans all day. Sure, you might look good, but you can't breathe. And when you're constantly monitoring yourself, second guessing, editing, performing, of course it feels hard. Of course you're drained. But the minute you drop the act and just let yourself be, everything gets lighter, freer, easier, because you're no longer fighting yourself. Which brings us to the next big truth, letting go of overthinking. Man, this one's a beast. Overthinking is like that annoying backseat driver in your head, narrating every little thing. "Oh no, you sounded weird. Why did you say that? Are they judging you? Should you backpedal? Smile more? Change the subject?" On and on it goes, until you're not even in the moment anymore. You're lost in your own mental maze. But here's what finally blew my mind. Overthinking is just a habit. It feels automatic, but you can retrain your brain to stop spiraling. And it starts by reminding yourself, over and over, that conversations aren't tests. There's no scoreboard. No one's keeping track of your performance. In fact, and this is where it gets really liberating, most people aren't thinking about you at all. Seriously, I don't mean that in a harsh way. It's just the truth. We're all the main character in our own heads. That person you're worried about impressing, they're too busy worrying about themselves. That awkward thing you said 5 minutes ago, I guarantee they forgot it 30 seconds later because they were busy replaying their own awkward moments. We're all living in our own little bubbles. And once you truly get that, oh man, the freedom hits like a breath of fresh air. You realize nobody's judging you the way you're judging yourself. And without that imaginary pressure, you get to relax. Be real. Actually enjoy the moment. And here's the emotional payoff. the piece that ties it all together. Confidence equals practice plus self-respect. It's not about suddenly becoming flawless. It's about building trust with yourself, one tiny step at a time. Every time you show up, even when it's messy, you're proving to yourself, hey, I've got my own back. That's self-respect. That's what builds real confidence. Not fake bravado, but the deep, unshakable kind that says, I'm good with me, whether or not this convo is perfect. And let me tell you something that might surprise you. People feel that. When you're grounded in your own skin, when you're not chasing approval or stressing over every little thing, you become magnetic in a way no trick or tactic can fake. People are drawn to authenticity like moths to a flame, not because you're dazzling them with perfect words, but because you're giving them permission to be real too. That's the magic. So, yeah, the real secret? It's not some complicated strategy. It's this: be real. Stop overthinking. Trust that people are too wrapped up in their own stuff to judge you. And keep practicing until your confidence becomes muscle memory. That's the recipe. And I promise, if you stick with it, you'll wake up one day and realize what used to feel impossible now feels like breathing. And that is the kind of ease you deserve. All right, so here we are. And if you've made it this far, first off, respect. Because let's be honest, this stuff, it hits deep. It's not just about talking to strangers or mastering small talk. It's about all the ways we've doubted ourselves, all the times we've shrunk back, convinced we weren't good enough or cool enough or smooth enough. And if that's been you, if you've struggled, if you felt awkward, anxious, out of place, I need you to hear me loud and clear. That is okay. Seriously. It doesn't mean you're broken. It doesn't mean you're behind. It just means you're human. And honestly, being human is messy business. But here's the beautiful thing. Just because it's been hard doesn't mean it has to stay hard. This gets easier, way easier. Not because you suddenly wake up one day and feel like a new person, but because step by step you become someone who trusts themselves, someone who's done the reps, someone who's learned through practice, through effort. That connection is a skill, and you've been building that skill all along. Every conversation, every small win, every little moment of courage, it counts. And yet, there will still be awkward moments. That's life. But you'll notice something shifts. Those moments, they won't knock you down the way they used to. You'll bounce back faster. Smile at yourself a little more. Because deep down, you'll know you've got this. You've earned it. And if there's one thing I want to leave you with, it's this. You don't have to become someone else to be social. You don't have to fake it, or twist yourself into knots, or chase some ideal version of cool. You just have to show up as you. Again, and again, and again. That's the whole game. And the more you show up, the more you realize you were enough all along. You were just waiting for your brain to catch up to the truth. So take a breath. Let yourself off the hook. And know this: you're already on the path. Every single step forward, no matter how small, is building something real. You've got everything you need. Now it's just a matter of using it. Let's go.